So welcome back. Today we're talking about Ready to Love, episode 7. I'm actually shocked that we've gone so far. I think because the season is quite engaging to me, so I don't really feel like I'm losing watching it anyways. So welcome back to the panel. Today we have Jijunan, William Lee, and Q. So we're going to jump into the review so that we don't waste time talking and dilly-dallying anyways. So they had two girls in the bottom. The boys had the power to eliminate the men. Sorry, I'm used to saying boys. The men had the power to eliminate Lizzie, and they put Kira and Sierra at the bottom. I'm not shocked about that. But now let's talk about the episode before we talk about Kira and Sierra because I feel like we've said so much about them.
Mhm.
Someone's mic is having a background noise. Okay. So we're going to start off with Moira. Moira was the king of the episode. What did you guys think about Moira?
Maya
Oh,
definitely was the king. Listen, whoa. He gave a lot. I'm gonna tell you. I feel like he's ready. I feel like he actually, he's one of my favorites. I gotta say it. I really am gonna say it. Maria is one of my favorites.
yeah.
Mm,
I have to tell you. First of all, I like him. I really, really do. And I felt his pain because it's just like first of all, where do they do that at where you meet your ex on national television? So, first of all, bravery to all the brothers, but also too, in the same token, it's like I get how Janelle and Jessica, felt blindsided by the tarot cards. You know what I mean? But also too, this is a journey about being ready to love, right? Um, and I feel like because he shared his vulnerability, that should have at least been respected. You know what I mean? Um,
Agree.
because when you know Marnay said, if you want to ask him, no, I'm good. I'm like, wait a minute, 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 wait a minute. So, first of all, he didn't want you to meet his ex. And all y'all ladies low key said on y'all confessionals that y'all didn't want to meet their exes either. So what we doing here? What we doing here, right? So at the end of the day, just because he was vulnerable doesn't mean that he should be, held to account and dragged through for his vulnerability. I would rather have, if I was Janelle or Jessica, I would rather have a man that is at least open about his, spirituality, even if it's blindside or not, than somebody saying that I'm the whitest woman in the room. At least he know he's black. That's all I got to say.
Right. Wow.
that's
Shade,
it.
shade. Right.
Did she
Shade.
not say it? I'm just repeating words that other people have said.
She
I
absolutely
like.
did, and I do. Go ahead, Q.
You go ahead.
I was just saying, like, when it comes to the whole date, things might have could have been handled differently, but that was the time for you to get to know, like, you know what I'm saying? If y'all, as much as y'all talked over the phone, I feel like it should have been brought up then. And
Exactly.
Maya did actually take accountability and say, like, hey, I should have brought this up. I should have said something about it. So, yeah, him blindsiding them with that kind of spiritual energy, especially somebody who is, churchified or, you know what I'm saying? Like these,
I,
listen, I'm
Okay,
spiritual too.
so
I believe, you know what I'm
anyways,
saying? But that churchianity shit, like, no, because that shit to me, there's a whole lot of deception that goes on in there. So I do feel like that conversation should have been had so that the ladies weren't blindsided.
mhm.
On the other hand, him opening up about it, I felt like it should have been more of a conversation. I felt like they should
Yeah,
have probably
yeah.
engaged more, figured out what it was. Are there still some spiritual connections that y'all have the same?
no,
Don't
I'm
just
sorry, I
completely
don't
shut
agree.
out. Like, don't completely
I
shut him
don't
out.
agree. I
Hmm.
don't agree with that because let's look at it from their perspective. As much as I feel
Hmm.
like everybody handled it in a wrong, right way. Okay, I come to a meeting and then you said, okay, you're going to meet my ex. Fine. You know I'm a devout Christian. And then your ex comes in, tells me she deals with tarot cards, and I'm like, okay, fine, you do all the spirituality thing, fine. I mean, I can't force you to be a Christian, right? And then without my permission, you're telling me, can I read you? I'm like, that was very unnecessary. And it sort of like pushed everybody further. The ex did not help at all. In fact, in every single conversation that Moira's ex was in, she never helped him out. It was almost like she made him look worse. I don't know if it was me, but that was just the way I saw. Like she was coming so
Yeah.
forceful with this whole spiritual thing. Like there was no soft landing. You obviously knew that he never had a prior conversation with these two women about any of this, and then you want to read tarot about them. Like, come on, you even pulled it out. Like, come on.
Yeah, the fact that she had like the tarot cards ready, that to me I felt like was definitely like a big no no. Like you don't know these women, you don't know really what how they
Exactly.
are. So for you
Right.
to be like it was already like an automatic that's what you were going to do and was about, that was definitely disrespectful. Don't blind like it was bad that they was already blindsided when it came to the whole shit with being with your ex anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But
Hmm.
then for it to
Yeah.
be,
Blind.
you know, I'm blindsided by your ex. I'm blindsided by the fact of, you're telling me you're this type of spiritual person, and then your ex pulls out tarot cards and tried to read me. Like, no, that's a whole lot that's going on. And also, like, I can also feel Jessica too when she was speaking, asking her about like, her like how sexual she is. That's none of
Yeah.
your business.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I
I'm
was no
sorry,
longer
you can come and
smiling.
ask me about how I get down.
Yeah.
Like,
And you know what? Let me say this. At the end of the day, I think that and we don't know if the producers talk to these exes, right? I think that in this situation, these, ex, meetups should have been produced of like, okay, here's what should be talked about, here's what should not be talked about. And even though this is a reality dating competition, you can produce something and still, create reality out of it. Because I mean, if we're gonna be real, if Melvin was there and the ex said, "Hey, listen, so these are the different spectrums of butt plugs that me and him had. What? How can y'all take pain? Because that's a big
oh
thing
my
for him.
god.
Hey, since we're going here, right? Because the ladies didn't like being blindsided. Well, at least it was a conversation that had some depth to it. I think that they rather would have want to be. I think they would rather have wanted to be there than talking about butt plugs and pain pressure. Just
I
saying.
don't think so. I think the women would have taken more to Marvin's ex talking about what's pain over this
Right.
because at least nobody will be blindsided.
Right. I think like they was already
You know,
like if it
maybe
came
this is
to
one this
Marvin,
is
they
one
would have
thing I
been
keep
ready for it.
saying that
Yeah,
I
Marvin kind of
don't
led
like
with
being
it. Marvin led
blindsided.
with that.
True,
Yes.
true, but still though, even though he did lead with it, and granted, still, it's one thing to lead with it and that you're comfortable in that experience, but to share that with a whole nother person, right? Because that question that she asked, that's not your business. They might have felt the same way about Melvin's ex. That's all I'm saying. I agree with y'all that at least he
Yeah, but
led
you
with
gotta
it,
think
but
Marie was the one who told her to ask this though.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
and this is my thing. Like I said, y'all been having conversations outside of the show. Why can
Yeah.
you not ask these questions yourself? You are the man. You are the one who's supposed to be trying to get to know these women and what they like, and you want them to get to know you. But yet you're
Yeah.
having your ex girlfriend ask about
That
like
I
you're
was thinking it.
no.
I was thinking
Yeah.
the I was thinking the exact same thing. It really showed who Marie was. Okay, whenever Marie knew those ladies' religious background. He knew how those ladies felt about their Christianity, spirituality, whatever you want to call it.
Hmm.
He knew. So why in the
Right.
world would he wait for another woman or to I feel like Mario should have been presented that, but he knew in the back of his mind, if I present it with them and they're not open minded to accept where
Hmm.
I'm at, you know, what I'm
Right.
saying, I might be at the bottom. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So he picked the perfect time to present that. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, if you accept it, you accept it. If you don't, you don't. Everything
Right.
ain't for everybody. You know what I'm saying? But Mario knew.
Absolutely.
He knew that they would not be receptive of that. That's why he didn't bring it up so early, and that's why he had old girl asking, and that was kind of upsetting for me because I thought Mario was really pretty stand up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I like he used her to ask questions that he can get answers to instead of her asking
Right.
questions
Mm.
to help.
I
Um,
think I think I get what you're saying, Q. Instead of being, the president of his company, he used a proxy, a representative, so he
yeah,
didn't have to take as much responsibility. And I
exactly.
agree, that was a coward move. I
That's
absolutely agree
exactly
with
what
that.
it seemed like. And then also, like, thinking about like all the stuff that Maya was saying, honestly, it was almost as if he had regrets of not being with her. So it's almost like maybe y'all should try to work something out, and maybe y'all should try to figure out where y'all at, because y'all both was talking about, the time difference and how it was before, and he was, letting it be known that that was his mistake. Like,
Sounds like they need to go on Temptation Island on USA Network
He
and
definitely
uh,
still likes that
and
girl.
see
that's
what can be.
something.
And I think it was only Sierra that asked a tangent question. As much as I feel like Sierra's point of view, not having like a good relationship with your ex doesn't make sense, she was the only one that picked up the vibe that when he said, "Oh, when you even say I regret losing one kind of relationship with her, like, what do you regret losing? You guys are still friends. What are you going back for?" I just did not get that statement. This
Lord.
episode, I was really sad. I was like, what the hell is he saying?
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Like, okay, I understand you can be friends with your exes. It is
Mm.
very possible. It is. I'm telling you, it is. But there's a respect that comes with that as well. Especially if I know, or if I'm feeling like there's some mistakes that were made, or I feel like there's a possibility that if, things were right or things were different, and I'm going through that mindset of reminiscing about us, or even if I'm sitting there with my ex and two other people that I'm trying to date, but yet I'm steady reminiscing about my ex, and telling them all the good qualities about her. And it's kind of like, mm, that's where you should be. And that's not
Yeah.
really a friend. That's not an ex that you need to have as a friend. Like, that's no. Like, there's guidelines when it comes to being friends. Like, uh, I don't know. Like I said, I like Marie. He is out of some of the men, he is kind of like one of my favorites. But how they depicted him and how he was tonight or last night, it kind of like throws me and makes me feel like, are you ready? Like, is
He
he
Yeah.
really
was.
ready? Because you are not really making the right connections, I feel. Like, the,
And not
the the stuff that needs to be spoken about and the conversations that need to be had, they're falling short.
and not to mention too, next episode, ladies have control again, right?
Right.
Hmm.
Yes.
Oh hell. This is gonna be interesting.
And you already said,
Good.
you already made a comment saying that, oh, I'm really scared. I need to patch things up. Like, there were so many statements he made this episode that was just really, really worrying because why are you so bothered about patching things? Why are you so bothered about staying in the process? If you really came to find love, why are you so bothered about still being a cat? Like, it threw me off when he made that statement because, like, you can find love outside, right? If you leave here, that means your one is not here. You might as well go outside and find it. So why do you want to patch things up? Why do you want to make sure by force that you are still in the show? Like, it's crazy because if we look at it, he has no connection currently. He tried to find a connection with Sierra, but Sierra gives me homey vibes. Honestly, I think Sierra should have even gone to with Kira because she's very unserious. She just tries to crack. As much as she's my girl, I like her vibe. But every time she's with someone, she tries to make jokes so that she can like level the whole conversation. She never
Right.
really makes any connection with somebody. So it's just like, why is she here?
True.
Right. It's the question of like, are you there just looking for a homie? Because one, it's crazy because Marie, that's what they said about him. He's gives the homie vibe. Sierra, if you feel like that's how Sierra's coming off to you, then maybe y'all might be just as
For me,
good as being homies. But
he wants
like,
a backup plan.
that is his backup plan, because he said, "Oh, I guess I need to basically stick with Sierra because that's all I have."
But he said
Like,
Jessica.
That doesn't seem like that's somebody that you
Yeah,
really want to be with or make a connection with. You're just trying to force a connection because one, you don't want to be eliminated. Like, I don't know.
but he said his
But
strong.
I don't feel like my head really has that connection right there, especially not with Sierra.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can Sierra really don't have a connection with anybody. I think she probably will next one to get cut. But the person I really thought Mario was gonna be with was Jessica, but since Jessica wasn't receptive to his spirituality, he said he got a lot of cleaning up to do. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
I think he's gonna try and work it out with her. You know what I'm saying? But like you said, I guess he just trying to stay on the show. If he just jumping for Sierra, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he didn't even make it as if like Sierra was really like one of his top options or somebody he
I
was
was
really
very
feeling.
shocked.
He made it sound like that was just basically like a backup plan just in case. Like, you
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? Like, and no, I don't. Honestly, Maye might be the next male to go home, and Sierra might be the next female.
Sarah should go home because I was wondering why she. Do you know how bad it has to be for you to be in the bottom two and you only had one scene? We've not seen any connection that
Yeah.
Sarah has had throughout the entire show. It's
True.
that bad. So it's like she's a homie to everybody. She might as well go home. I'm not ready for all this. She
No,
always
and
has
then
a
and
lot of
judging by that live that she did too, it's like, girl, yeah,
Mhm.
you just definitely was not. You're not ready.
Mm-mm.
at all. So now let's go on to Crete.
Hmm.
Prince Crete.
Man, oh Lord Jesus, there was so much in this that
Mm-hmm.
man. I mean, when I saw this, and talking about, and then shout out to the Chris's ex, because she said, what can you do in terms of support, right? And I like how Jessica took the question on and said, what does support look like? Is it, showing up to work with you to events? Is it running your bath water? And she understood the spectrum. And I do get Jessica is a strong woman, but also too, within that strength is layers to that strength.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't apologize for how your energy comes off. From what I've seen, I think that there is a niceness to her, but maybe she has always had that strong personality because that's how she has to be for herself, of herself, and by herself. And so
Mm-hmm.
she can't help that. So I do think that was unfair, because guess what? At the end of the day, Sherry Shepherd said something I'll never forget. She's like, when I'm doing the Sherry Shepherd show, oh, of course I'm nice, Sherry. Hey, girl. Hey, audience. It's good to see y'all, family. But backstage, I have responsibilities to do.
Mm-hmm.
I can't be that. Not saying I'm not nice backstage, but I do have to be a boss. I feel like that's the same thing with Jessica. At least she was being honest. And when the ex said, "Well, I felt like I was a forever girlfriend. I was in servitude." Oh,
We're gonna show
No,
you.
my
you seen
God.
Jessica's face, like her
You know
face
what?
went
I
blank.
totally understand. See, I'm going to, you guys should explain, like, say your point. You know, I'm a purebred African, so I totally understand him. He's crazy.
But
Listen, it's not even just about like, you know what I'm saying, culture, because as a woman,
It is culture.
there's just, well,
Like,
you're right, it is, because yeah, that's a little bit different for y'all. But I'm just saying, like, as a woman, there are a lot of things that we will do for our man, like, period. Just woman nature, okay? But I like when it comes to Jessica, like you said, Braylon, she has layers of strength, and then those layers, like, I don't know, maybe she's been too strong for so long that she
Yep.
doesn't know how to kind of, you know, be softer. Just like how
Yeah.
Chris was saying he wants her to be softer. Now, there's nothing saying that, you need to just be completely docile and completely just,
Exactly. Don't be a care bear or
yeah, you
build a
don't have
bear,
to do
but
all that, but you can kind of soften up a bit. You can.
yeah.
And hey, Mocha, I agree with you too. Chris's ex was doing a little bit too much too, because I feel like she might have felt like, even though she said she felt like the forever girlfriend, I think she might still be in that where she feels like she could still be the forever girlfriend.
Hmm.
I feel like honestly, I get that vibe with some of them and their exes in
Yeah.
those scenes. There was some scenes where I was just like, if y'all just tweaked a couple things, y'all might actually be able to work out. Like,
True,
That
because and I did see that thread throughout all of them in some capacity. And here's the thing, too. I think sometimes we really do forget the totality of a person just because of a moment with that person. Because I know this is a broken record at this point, but Chris, I don't know of any other woman on that show that took any other dude around to make sure he was okay when she took you around. That was a sign of strength of like, listen, I am strong, but I know that right now you have a moment of weakness because your strength is weak because you don't want to be out in this experience. And she took her strength and made it a purpose in her to make sure you're okay. So he also has to recognize that she does have levels of strength, that she's not that way all the time.
it's not gonna
So
come really.
say that again, Q.
Hit the it's not going. Everybody got different ways of showing different things. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
Because she's not, as soft as he want to be. She got other areas that's very strong about her that can benefit him. I feel like the star of that scene right there was Chris. To me, I didn't when the show started, I wasn't really feeling Chris, but the more I watch it, I became a fan of him. You know what I'm saying? I really don't feel like his person is on that show, but the what he exuded, you know what I'm saying, in that episode, you know what I'm saying, the way he handled and not even say handled, but the way he talked to his ex and admitted things that he did wrong, you know what I'm saying, and then also
That
apologized.
was big.
I was like, oh yeah, he's mature enough, you know what I'm saying, to take that next step. But I don't think it's gonna be with Aries, and I really don't think it's gonna be with Jessica. He said he stopped talking to Jessica.
So I have the opposite opinion from you guys. Maybe because I've dealt with Nigerian men a lot. So I'm Nigerian, Chris is Nigerian, but from the same tribe, Igbos.
Mhm.
So as I said it last week, there are matrilineal Igbos, patriarchal Igbos. Like we have different sub tribes under the tribe, basically different cultures. So
Mhm.
I'm thinking that he's more of the patriarchal one. Because let me break it down for you. When the girl spoke, I was not shocked. I thought people were just overreacting. But Africans watching the show were like, oh, it's quite normal. The thing with Chris is that saying Jessica is loud was very funny to me because we Nigerians are known for one thing. We are very loud, like very loud. When you see a gathering of Nigerians, whether in our country, outside our country, even when I have like country people friends outside the country, when you see us together, we are always very loud. So that was a very convenient excuse for someone who has dated a Nigerian, most likely met other Nigerian friends. This lady was doing too much because you would have come across so many Nigerian people, so many Africans, and Africans are so known for being very loud. So I found that to be a very convenient excuse to give for not liking Jessica. And to me, it's quite obvious that they edited Chris's confessionals. All what he said at the beginning was probably what he said at the ending too. Was like after the ex spoke. It was quite obvious while watching it. But then him always complaining about her being quite assertive, him wanting her to be soft spoken. Yes, nice. But now it's starting to grate my nerve because if you keep saying you are trained in the Nigerian culture, blah blah blah, Nigerian women are quite assertive, but actually very, very strong-willed. So it's like you are saying you were trained in the culture, and then what you are saying is basically clashing with your culture. So at this point, I'm like, do you really like Jessica? No. That's my answer for you.
No, and you know what? I appreciate that perspective because I think when it comes to African Americans and different and the different spectrums of what African is from Africa, there is a culture clash, right? And I think that's something that or I speak for myself, that I have not digged into enough of because I do agree that if that is your culture, and you have a culture clash with somebody from a different point of view who behaves in a different way, but your culture is that way, that would irritate me as well. Because when I look at Jessica, sure, she's strong, but also she's not horrible either. I mean, at the end of the day, that's up to you to put in that work to look past all that. But you have to also want to look past all that too. Um, and you know what? Honestly, y'all, sometimes the best way for a real relationship to happen is time and space. Sometimes you need to just be on the show just so you can be known. And then, time and space happens, and then maybe you might see Chris and Jessica together. I thought y'all didn't like each other. We just needed some time. We just needed some distance, being on TV to really get to know each other because this is for entertainment. They haven't had the time, the space, um and the mindset to breathe and let go and get to know each other for real.
I still don't think he likes her at all because when African men like you, they will be all on you. So it's quite obvious. He's just picking what he wants to pick, like the ones that are comfortable for him to pick, like the whole servitude thing. Because in Nigeria, the woman, there's nothing like, although they are like traditional men, don't go let us talk rubbish. People work and they still expect you to serve the man, to take care of the house, to take care of this. So he's only picking the ones that would make like that are good for him. Why we expect her to strip herself off of who she is instead of accommodating a little bit. So you want her to be calm spoken, not a problem. You want her
Right.
to serve you like a slave. Wow. And then you want her to not be loud. So where exactly is she going to be if not a figment of what you want? I don't even believe I can't believe that this guy is
Right,
making
like
me
that
defend
that's a big
Jessica.
problem.
You guys know I'm not really a Jessica fan, but that entire conversation, it just like, what exactly are you basing this thing off? Do not base it off a culture when you are not following it. It's very irritating to do that.
Yeah, I'm looking at Stay Tunes reviews comment. I can with you. Something about the name Jesus. It is the sweetest name I know.
That's silly. Oh Lord, have
And
mercy.
because it's actually quite sad. It's very obvious that she really likes
Oh
Chris
Lord.
because she was not so bothered about being disappointed with Maureen. But this one, she was quite disappointed. It's quite obvious that she likes Chris. Just like Aries. Aries really liked Phil as a father figure, but she's sexually attracted to Chris. Quote me. Yeah, Chris is a fine man. I can't lie.
And no, I still feel like Jessica, like her person is not there. I do not feel like I'm sorry. I'm not saying I felt in the beginning like, hey, wait, maybe we just need to take time, see people's connections develop, but I'm not really seeing too many genuine connections with anyone that's left. And when it comes to Jessica, maybe Jessica does need to have, you know what I'm saying, legs to the sky. Cause I don't know, baby. Like, and I agree with you, Ucho, especially when it comes to like, there should be some compromise. She shouldn't have to change everything about her just to fit into what he's
Exactly.
wanting.
Yep.
Like that's just how it is in relationships, period. Like you gotta understand, like y'all are two individuals coming into a relationship. It's not
Hmm.
where this person was just like you and you're just like them. No, that's not always gonna be. But there needs to be communication, conversation, and it just you guys need to be able to find a common ground and understand how you're going to work out the relationship if you're going to be in a
Yes,
relationship.
because he
Exactly.
stays complaining about something about Jessica. And maybe it's just a me person. I really do not like when someone complains about me. Like I'm a complainer. So if you start complaining, we'll meet each other then. We'll complain tired to the extent that two of us will be frustrated. So don't start. Because you guys have not even entered a serious relationship and you are having issues. Like it's crazy to me. Like every single time he has met Jessica, he has an issue. I'm not lying. Like we're watching the episode, he always has an issue every single time. Every time. Like it's draining.
Yeah, and it's not like Jessica is not. From what I've seen, I don't see that Jessica is a person that's not hard to get along with. It seems like she's open, um, but also too, there has to be a point in time where it's like, okay, I'm trying to change. What are you doing? You know what I mean? So
He's not doing anything. He's not going to change. He's not going to do anything. That's how men like Chris operate. So, oh, Q is back. Let me add him back. So, yeah. Q, do you have anything to say before we move on to the next?
Oh no, I'm good. I'm good.
And yeah, smoke a legs to the sky. I did say that. Yeah.
as long as you keep your head to
Ha
the sky,
ha.
you can win. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We
Please
can move on. We
never
can
sing
move on.
again.
Mm.
Oh no! Trust me. Listen, that's why I only know how to host. There's no way I will win American Idol. So you're good. You're good. I will never be auditioning ever. So we're good.
We're still in. Yes, this one right here,
Now,
Quentin and
please,
Lee.
Woo,
please
Quentin,
someone
Mm.
irritated me. This
Quentin.
one, my
Quentin wants
blood
somebody to worship
pressure
him.
hit the roof.
Hmm.
I was gonna say, y'all know that Ucha does not like Quentin. So listen, who?
Mm. Mm.
God,
Lord,
I should write
there was
about this dude.
there was so many damn mistakes. I mean,
Qu-
to say that you ghosted her in front of
Yeah, that
your
was.
other connection.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, no,
mm,
let's go ahead and unpack that all the way fully. You were telling your ex that you ghosted someone you say that you like in front of the person you truly like as well.
First off, that
yeah,
wasn't even his
yeah.
There was
ex.
a whole lot of that was just messed
First,
up.
Mm,
Oh,
first
that was
off,
just messed up.
Jesus.
first off, that wasn't even his ex. The girl said he never committed to her. That was just somebody he was messing with. So what? First off, that
You're
wasn't
right.
even a girlfriend.
She
That
was
was
just
just
You're
making
somebody.
right.
moves.
He was just. Then she came out
You
and said
can't
that
even commit.
he can't even commit. So that's not even a girlfriend. That's not even an ex.
Right. And that Quentin likes to be single. I'm just like, oh damn, dog. Like,
I told
like,
you
and like,
guys, you guys never
you
accepted.
well, I mean, listen, we only know what the camera gives us, but yes, I will give you your credit, Solana. You did say this, but I
Yes,
didn't want this to
agreed.
happen to him like this. I'm like, damn, like he's representing the 29, 28, 30-year old people, and damn it, Quinn, you just gotta mess it up for brothers like me and Q, man. We
Ah, ah.
just
I ain't
damn.
like he make it better. I ain't gonna lie.
You know, you know what?
Right.
You're right. You
Listen,
know what? You're right, Q.
what
You're
he
right,
did
Q.
was just
That
yeah.
yeah, that L that he made me, and you have a chance to make a W out of that. You're absolutely right. You are absolutely right.
But
Putting his foot in his mouth is not even that doesn't even scratch the surface of what he did. Like
yeah,
that was just you just shot yourself in the foot, honey. Like you come and you some okay, you chose because clearly they got to choose which ex it was that they had come in and talk to him. So
Mhm.
you
exactly.
chose her to
Yeah.
come in and talk about y'all's non-committed relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So you just did you sabotaged yourself.
Yeah.
And then like to make it like, oh well, Lee shut down and she shows me that she can't do this and she can't do that. So
Mm-hmm.
I see I'm gonna have to back off. Honey, you
He.
better be lucky if Janelle talks to you after that.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Quentin did some bull job, and I ain't. He blew me when he did it. Because it
Yeah.
was not. But what he said was, he was like, he wanted to see if which woman is gonna back down. You know what I mean? Pretty much in so many words
Like
from.
it's the Lion King.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, brother. Like that was weak. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not getting there to see you. You really want to see a cat fight. You really want these women to fight over you. You want somebody to worship you.
Yeah.
Hmm.
He
Yeah,
wants to be wanted in a way that
yeah,
maybe he he feels like I don't know. He feels like since he doesn't commit, or I don't know. He feels like he works out. He's buff. He looks good. Women are just gonna fawn all over him. No, baby. No.
No,
You're
no.
missing. You're missing a lot of characteristics that go along with it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why he was really feeling like Lee was going to take that as, just a form of respect. And you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, no, that was
I
very
ghosted you.
disrespectful.
Come on. You gonna tell
Yeah.
that in front of the opposition that I ghost? That's like giving Janelle a one up. You know what I'm saying? Why would you even put
Hmm.
Lee in that situation when you know only thing you want to do is sleep with Janelle and you kind of like Lee a little bit, and you know Lee is
Yep.
like you've been rocking with Lee heavily, but you know good and well he said it. Oh, I know me and Janelle gonna sleep together. You know what I'm saying? So he know
Mhm.
good and well. You know what I'm saying? What's what? You know what I mean? He really don't want to be with none of them. Tell you the truth, he don't want to be with none.
Clearly, look, he likes to be single. We've heard this, okay? We know this. We've seen this.
Yep.
You like to be single, Quentin. You want your cake, pie, cookies, ice cream. You want it all, honey.
Mm-hmm.
I
Salad
mean,
Listen,
dressing,
you
you want it
trying
all.
to open
I,
up your own bakery.
I,
Like,
I, I mean, honestly, what he should have said was like, you know what? When she was talking about living single, y'all remember the show Living Single in a '90s kind of world. I'm glad that
yeah,
I had my
Mm-hmm.
girls. I was glad to have my boys, and that was my perspective back then. But now I want to be living together.
Yeah,
That's the way you should
agreed.
say it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just oh, child. Okay.
at what, this is what I want to know. At what point did they stop messing around?
No, they still messing around.
Because if y'all was not in a committed relationship, that means you was tapping whenever you wanted to. And that leaves me to believe that you probably still are or still could.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that
He's
Instagram live together? They were kiki. She was like, "Oh, Quentin, I've been telling you to come live with me," and I'm like, "Why would you want to come live with you? Like, that's a very weird
Right.
thing to
Like,
say. Like, oh, please."
yeah,
Well,
Quentin, yeah, he did it. You
well,
have
I
been
mean,
right about you've been right about it, Mocha. You
yeah,
definitely have
Mocha,
been
you
right.
have been
you
right.
were right
You've been
about it. You
right,
called it
Ocha.
out. You
You
called it
did.
out.
You absolutely did. Well, I mean, now he came on live and probably came up in some other capacity after the live, so it is what it is, yo. And let's just move on. Let's just move on.
That was the worst scene to me.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
It
it
that
was the
was
was.
it.
worst to me because Lee is my girl.
Yeah.
I felt really bad. But one thing I do not like, I would never allow someone disrespect me like this. I would have walked away. I mean, they allow you to walk away, so why should I stay there and keep being insulted? He, the ending of the date, he hugged Lee. He held Janelle's waist. His hands were practically on her butt and led her outside while Lee walked away. For someone who said,
Right.
"Oh, Lee was too quiet, I will try to get under this whole situation," you could have led Lee out and had that conversation with her outside. Come on, please.
Right. Or just be a man about it and conversate with her prior to this and let her know, like, hey, I know you might have felt like I ghosted you the other night, such and such. This is what happened, da da da. Why would you bring that up in mixed conversation or in front of mixed company? That
Exactly,
no, you could have
exactly.
nipped
That's
that
a
shit in the
conversation you
bud
had, yeah,
before.
outside of that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you either
Yeah,
have that before or you have that afterwards. Don't let anybody else know. Why would you tell somebody else something that I didn't know about me?
Mm-hmm.
right. Because
Like,
because I mean, at the end of the day, right? Like there's no right or wrong way to go about a journey like this, but put yourself in the mindset if you were on a date or if you were on a double date with your mom and her new man or your sister and her new dude
Mm-hmm.
and you heard that said to you, would you have the same energy you had?
Mm-hmm.
In the words of Tony Braxton, why you gotta act this way, just be a man about it. I didn't sing it that time. I did not sing it that time.
You
Okay,
wanted to though. I
Alana.
know you wanted to.
No,
I
no,
know you wanted to.
no,
Don't
no,
hold
no.
back now.
Look,
Don't hold
look.
back now.
There's some people I cannot impersonate. And Tony Braxton is not one of them. I mean, it's easy to do, but she's an icon, so I can't be that disrespectful. No, I can't. I can't. But yeah, that was just that
No,
was
but he
man.
definitely could have done that completely different. And you definitely do have to consider that her feelings would change and her whole
Yeah,
demeanor after something like that. Like, no.
like she been
I'm
The
holding
sorry.
fact
him
You're
that she
lucky
didn't
that
down.
even know she was
you lucky
ghosted.
she wasn't ratchet and threw something in your face.
Yeah, she
Because
was
if this was
holding him
Love and
down.
Hip Hop,
Yeah.
just saying, Love and Hip Hop, you'd have had a drink, some fries, I don't
Hmm.
know, something else. Like a table would have been shook.
But
Yeah.
Did they
but my
even
thing,
eat anything?
No, she got
mm-mm.
quiet.
Yeah, she
I
did.
felt really bad for her. Like, I like Lee. And she's beautiful. She's, like,
Hmm.
Quentin definitely is not for her.
Nah.
And not to mention the horrible part of it was both of them saw that lead pull back. I'm like,
Yeah, yeah.
y'all really, really just
And he
see
talking about,
this.
I just gotta dive a little more deep into it. I just gotta, see what that. So I gotta dive. And I'm like, man, if you shut up. But yeah,
I mean, brother. I mean, they
he made
always
it
say
worse.
they always say if you can make her mind wet, you will make everything else. Well, dude, that has dried. That
Yeah.
has dried. Okay, listen.
And she was down for him from the beginning. You know what I mean? She was rocking with him
Yeah.
and telling her that's his number one, that's my number one. But the one who got the most miles when they called Janelle, but Janelle had like what up? Janelle was on the whole show.
Hmm.
I'm telling you,
Janelle,
by the end of
like,
the episode, she was down to only one connection, the one who wants to have sex with her.
mm-hmm.
Didn't I
Yep.
say this was going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
And it
You
happened.
did.
Like, I saw the future because it was so obvious. None of the men really liked her to the ex. You know what? Let's talk about the whole thing with Harvard because I've been saying the same thing about her, but like I read
You
this dude and
yeah.
I'm like, you lie. Nobody can play me in this life. It was way too obvious. I just think the women are being purposely obtuse to see what the guys are doing. Because why would you tell me I move slowly? Why did you come to Ready to Love if you move slowly? These women came to
Yeah.
party.
But also too, I wasn't surprised by that because y'all remember the hammock where Janelle was trying to be vulnerable about her grandmother and swinging on the porch, and he was like, no sudden movement. So I could already tell from that conversation that he didn't have the capacity to be serious. So I wasn't surprised when that was said at the table.
All of them want to be the one who sleeps with the thick girl, the pretty girl. That's just the vibe it's giving me. And that's sad. Like, this is one problem with being beautiful. They will just want to sleep with you. None of them are actually taking Janelle seriously. And it was way too obvious. Maybe because I didn't really like her, so I really read into her relationships. So it was too obvious to me that Herbert did not like her, Quentin did not like her. I didn't even know where this Moira thing came from. I was even taken by shock. So I didn't know she had a connection with that dude. But it was too obvious that Herbert did not like her. Like, why was he acting that way? I do get the whole wanting your biological kid and her wanting to adopt, but it's quite obvious why she wants to adopt. She was an adopted child. So obviously she feels that, oh,
Mhm.
I'm doing something back to another adopted child. So
Absolutely.
it was so easy to see from her point of view.
Right.
The way
And
he
she said
reacted
that
so
before.
violently, I'm
Yeah.
like, come on, dude. She's 41 for crying out loud. In the
Yeah.
medical field, we try to advise women to have their kids before the age of 35. Once you get to that 35 mark, it becomes dangerous, like high risk pregnancy. And now
Yeah.
she's 41 going on menopause, and you think she would want to risk it?
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
would think like with that, like that is understandable. Like, and she has commented that she does want to adopt because she is adopted. That's something that she wants. But with Herbert, y'all are not getting any younger. Why are you steady acting like you want to procrastinate and move slow when it comes to being in a relationship? Now, yeah, I
He
Right.
understand
said
her
he's
saying that
still
she wants to be
young.
engaged.
He said
She
he's
said
still
she
young.
listen. If you're too young, then yeah, definitely Janelle's not for you because y'all
Wait,
are on two
how
different tracks
old
in
is
life.
Herbert? Let me check. Let me check. Let
I
me
think
confirm.
Herbert is in his 40s too, or
Yeah.
like close to it.
He should be in his 40s.
He's
And
37. Jesus
So,
Okay,
ba-
Christ.
so, so,
37,
bas-
honey.
so
You're
From
basically,
close.
round up.
Instagram.
You know what I mean? When Janelle said what she said, and I've been, digging into trying to understand life a little bit more, even though I'm not in the position to be a husband or a father or to do anything bigger than myself right now, doesn't mean that I should not educate myself, because we always can help somebody. And there was a report on Good Morning America about how Black women are passing away as the highest ethnicity in terms of childbirth, and how there's black doulas and things like that. And I remember Brat and Judy, how they almost didn't have a kid because Brat had to go in because something was going on with her. And so for Janelle to say that she did, when my adopting, whatever works for you works for you. Um, because like you said, there is high risk pregnancy. And I agree that getting engaged at the end of the year is
Was a
too
little too
loud, too
much.
much, too fast. Wait a minute. We just spent 3 months together on a
A month.
reality television show, right?
It's actually a month.
Ha- oh, even shorter. But either way, let's get to know each other outside these cameras to see if we actually like dealing with each other before we invest in creating a life together. That listen,
Absolutely, but you got to
you
think they have been having that conversation or that connection outside what they've been saying. So that's why I don't understand why this conversation has not been had, which I feel like it has because, like I said, I've heard Janelle talk about wanting to adopt because of her being adopted. So I'm pretty
right,
sure she's had this conversation with Herbert about that. And matter of fact, I think there was a scene where there was a conversation with Herbert about this. So it's
right.
not like this is something new. Either you need to figure out, okay, where am I at in my life? Am I ready to move on? Do I want to be married? Because honestly, you can be looking for love, but that doesn't mean that you want to be married. That
Yeah.
Yeah,
doesn't mean that you want to
yeah,
have
See,
kids.
see, a lot of times, let's be real. You know what I'm saying? If you have options, you looking at your options for certain reasons. Like, okay, I could be with this one right here.
mhm,
I'm really not attracted to him, but if he say the right things, we can move a certain way. This guy here,
exactly.
I just know I'm gonna sleep with him, and I just gonna be that. So
That's
in
it.
in this right here, she would just want to sleep with Quentin, and she like, if my man say the right things, I'm gonna be with him. Cause she didn't never say nothing about. I ain't really never seen a conversation with her and Quentin talking about adoption this and adoption that and having kids and this and this and this. But for Herbert, she like, I could be with Herbert because he seemed a little more settled. But what? Because she did the same thing with Red. Like she was pushing for Red at one time because her and Red around the same age. So Janelle kind of
Right.
figure out like what she want from each guy. You know what I'm saying?
No,
So
very true. And also too, with that, Q and everybody, one of my good friends, his name is MC. He said, we because when we had a conversation about relationships, he said, I don't want anyone young because they're fertile. But he said that because he's at the age now where he's done it. He's done it already. So he wants a companionship. So at the end of the day, with Herbert, if he is moving slow, it seems like he
Moving
may just
slow
want
at the age of
companionship.
37.
And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, right? He needs to figure out what level he wants a relationship at. So does Quinn. If you want to stay single, stay single. If you want to be a menage a trois, be in a menage a trois. If you want to ride and jump on bunnies at the bunny ranch, go do it. But you need to make a decision about where you want to be, so that way they know where they need to be. You know what I mean? That's
Yes.
just it.
But the thing with Herbert is that it's not like he can't make a decision. Because it's just like when I'm dating someone I'm not really interested in, to be honest, the same excuses that Herbert is giving, the same thing I would give. Oh, I like to take things slow. Oh, I like to do this thing. He told the same thing to his ex, and now she's his ex. He just wants to sleep with Janelle. This is the same excuse that we tell people that we really do not want to have anything to do with. It's
Right.
just come on. We all know why he said he's taking it slow. Because the amount of fear he had when she said she wanted to be engaged and married by year end and early next year. Because this season was shot in like March. So That's like people get married within 6 months of meeting. So you're telling me it will take you more than 6 months to know that, oh, this is the person I want to be with? That's crazy. When people give me that lie of, oh, it takes long for us to know if we want to marry, if we want to do this. How many people have been dating for 6 years, then get married and they divorce in 1 month?
True. That
That's not
I
an
think
excuse.
right. I think that's a very fair point. And with that being said, at the end of the day, if I was with Janelle, or if Q was with Janelle, or if anybody was with Janelle, I think it's one thing to know that you have love for someone. It's another thing to know that you actually want to marry that person. Now, what I would do is I would put a limit on it. Okay, at the end of this year, we engage or we're not, and move the hell on. That's it, right? So I do believe that getting to know each other outside of that is important,
Mm-hmm.
but also too, it should have a timeline because hell, y'all were growing enough to get on TV. You should be growing up to make a decision. But you do need that time because, like you said, people get together for six years and end up, divorced in a month. You don't want to get to know that person in a month, marry them in that month, and then y'all divorce the next month. Like
Mm-hmm.
where they do that at?
Mm-hmm. But she a little up in age, you know what I'm saying? I could respect where she coming from, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
If that was lad, you know what I'm saying, this is what I want, that I would. But her be like, man, well, you ain't never said this jump to me. What you talking about? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
I
You're
don't
right
think
because she
nobody
did
want
lead with that. You're
ain't
right.
nobody want no long, drawn out engagement. You know what I mean? It don't take that long to figure that part out. At least I believe.
Right.
But she say Herbert missed the move slow. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, there's
Hmm.
nothing wrong with what Janelle want, you know what I'm saying? But if it's new to
No,
Herbert,
I agree.
if it's new to
I
him, you know.
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree with you, Q, that
Mm-hmm.
she has led with that. I was just saying that, for her to be that quick
Mm-hmm.
in terms of something new like this coming from this space,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
need that year. But
Mm-hmm.
for her wanting that as her standard, nothing wrong with that at the age that she's
Mm-hmm.
at. I totally agree.
Yeah. Mm.
Actually. Now let's go to stay tuned with you, girl, Aries. You guys know I really do not care about
Shade.
Aries.
Uh,
Because me and my part, if he
Shade.
only talks about
Oh,
Aries, I'm like, might as well just like talk about this
shade.
girl. Because he already dropped it. Please. She's a pretty lady, but my point still stands. She's way too bothered about finding a father figure than finding a husband. It never ends well because only one side will be satisfied. Then, okay, what about our love life? What about our sex life? What about our
mhm,
life? It's like
Mhm.
you are settling for less just because you are so desperate for your kids to have a father figure.
Yeah, you totally right. You are 100% right. I can see that all the way. But only thing I don't think I would say is that she really got filled by the jugglers, right? she got she got Phil can't do nothing. Phil in love right now. You know what I'm saying? Now if they go ahead and pursue a relationship and stuff like that, whatever else outside of that, she gonna have Phil, you know what I mean? She gonna be wearing the pants in that situation. I could tell, you know what I'm saying?
mhm,
But I do agree. She do seem like she's more so wanting a stable relationship for her kids more than anything. You know what I'm saying?
mhm. And I agree, and you have said that, Uchi, you definitely have, and I think there is nothing wrong with having that as a qualification, but that shouldn't be the foundation of a relationship because at that point you can go to Big Brothers and Big Sisters or the Boys and Girls Club or some nonprofit and just get a
Right.
mentorship. And this is the thing too. I don't blame her too much because at the end of the day, I said this before. At least she is stepping up and recognizing her motherhood unlike some women out here. TLC said there was a song that TLC said that guys were scrubs, women are scrubs too. So at least she's trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
But I do agree with you that she needs to personally put herself first. You know what I mean? So
Because in the end
Definitely
of the
agree
day,
with that, Braylon, especially, the fact that being a mother and a parent, you do look for qualifications not only just to fit you, but someone that is going to be a good role model or influence to your children, especially if their parent isn't around. And that's how I'm kind of feeling like, is the father of these kids around? Because she's really pressing hard, very, very hard for a father figure.
Desperate at this point.
And it's like, is that really what you're wanting, is just a father figure? Because you can get somebody who's a great father, but they're a terrible husband, terrible
Correct.
man.
Correct.
So you got to make sure that your qualifications and what it is that you're actually wanting and putting on your application are things that are going to not only benefit you, but your children as well. Because if you are not taken care of, those children won't be taken care of as well.
No, absolutely right.
Preach.
So she definitely needs to kind of like, start working through what it is that she wants, what she truly needs, not for your children. What do you need? Because
Exactly.
before you was a parent, you was a woman.
Right.
So what are your needs? What do you want? What do you like? What is going to make you happy at the
Right.
end of the day?
And I do wish that, there was, on camera therapy that, maybe Aries could have went to and said, as a mom, I put so much on myself, and that therapist could have said, you can clock out of being a mama right now. You need to clock into being Aries right now. And I don't know if that happened off camera or not, but I think it's important to let people know that your humanity does matter. Um, and like I said, nobody is ever going to be perfect in their humanity, but it's about finding out what works for your humanity. So
Yeah. Now, looking at this comment, I was just quoting it so that I will not forget. She said, Phil likes Aries. He's just sexually attracted to Katerina. That's why, regardless of how Aries pulls him, he would keep saying, but cat. I mean, I did notice it though. We'd always say, but my connection with cat. All right.
Listen, they all kind of want Cat. Cat is beautiful. She's got a body. You know what I'm saying?
She's
She comes in.
tall.
Yeah. So of course they're, feeling some ways about Cat. But I do feel like, as far as like connection wise, I feel like Aries and Herbert, Aries and Phil do have a better connection. Out
yeah,
of
But
like,
connection is not
if you really
enough.
want a father figure, if that's what you're wanting, or and somebody that could actually be good to you, I don't know. Phil might be it
And he
out of
will
all of
go
them.
out there and he would be sexually attracted to someone else because she put forth something that is not. Do you know your kids will eventually reach the age of 18, reach the age of 20 when they leave home, go out to live their own lives, start working? So, what are you guys going to do? What's the relationship going to be based on? Your kids are no longer there. So, that's not an excuse. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like it's a flimsy excuse for looking for a partner because at the end of the day, you're going to be miserable. The kids will go to school. Two of us will not, we won't have any sexual attraction. So what's going to happen to the bedroom? We'll just
Yeah,
be
she's
there hugging each
confusing a
other.
good father
That's
with a
just
good
dumb as
man.
hell. Because
yeah,
at the end of the day, he may likely cheat on you.
Right? But
yeah,
like I said, she's confusing a good man and a good father. Like, those are two totally different things. Like, and sometimes they don't go hand in hand. So, like, she needs to step back and really think, because, like you said, those kids are going to be out the house. They're not going to always be there. So, this person that you're sharing your life with and saying that you love or want to marry, they're the ones that's going to be there when those kids are out of the house. Are y'all going to be able to maintain? Because a lot of times, if you guys know, a lot of people who have kids or are married and stay married because of the kids, when those kids are out the house, they divorce. They start
yep,
separating. It's like, no, the kids are gone. We don't have to stay together anymore. So if that's all
Because
you want is somebody to help you raise these kids up until they do get out of the house, then you need to go on a completely different journey and a different, you know what I'm saying? You might ready for love is not it.
at all.
yeah. I agree with that.
But now let's then come to the people who supposedly Kira. So I had a talk with Kira and I was like, oh, I want to interview you later on. But I just wanted to have like I wanted to understand this whole white woman conversation, dating white men. I do not have a problem with you dating white men whatsoever. I just wanted to understand why it was so important in that conversation. And what she told me was that it was black people that always told her that she behaved like a white woman. And then when she says it, people feel like she wants to be a white woman. Now, when she made that comment, anyways, when I interview, I'm going to clarify because maybe because I'm 100% black, I just feel like that should be an insult, right?
Right.
Because that means you're acting like a Karen, or am I just like reading too much into it? Because I felt like that was a weird way to explain why you call yourself a white woman.
Right. And not to mention too, it just I don't know. I feel like she feels like a producer pickup, like, you know what, y'all, we got to fill these episodes. Just throw her in. But she not I don't give a damn if she's not ready. Damn it. Sometimes we need to showcase who's not ready. So we can see the spectrum of who can be ready and who's not. Because
When
when
she
she was
said,
saying
I
that,
don't want kids, I don't like men with kids, I laughed.
exactly.
But
Yep.
she was right. Some people just do not like, for the lack of better word, what they call it, baggage.
Yep. But also too, the thing that really got to me was when they talked about the physical touch thing and Kira was trying to get along with the ex. I'm like, you do realize like she's Latina, right? She ain't white, she's Latina. She got hips and fingertips. So I just didn't get why she tried to exude extra energy for that situation when then she said what she said about not wanting kids. I'm like, okay, if you don't want kids, cool, but don't try to give this energy to get along with my ex so you can look good in this situation. Like, what the hell is that?
I don't know. I just think no. I don't accept that your explanation because to me I felt like she was trying to be friendly, but as the ex kept speaking about feel, she was like, oh, maybe this is not the connection I want. Starting with the physical touch. I'm not a PDA kind of person, but when we're in like private, sure. So for someone who likes physical touch, hearing that the guy that they are obviously chasing doesn't like it is like a shocker. It's better just end it than continue. So at that point, she was already out of that conversation, like out there. Then the mentioning of kids. I feel like people just overreacted with that child question. I felt people overreacted because she said, I've dated men with children, but my preference is men without children. Because,
Right.
yes,
There's nothing wrong with her
you would
preference. That's what she
always still
prefers.
put your child, just like Aries, subconsciously, you will always put your child over finding a
Sure.
better connection.
No, I agree with that. I mean, I don't think there was anything wrong with what she said at all. I think it was just the context that he does have kids, but yet you came to this date. I think that, and I could be completely off with my take on that, but I think that's where the disconnect was for me. You don't want kids, but yet this dude has kids.
But it's not like she cannot stand kids. She just prefers men without kids. Like me,
She's she's
I totally do not
young.
like kids. I totally do not like kids. Like it's not like I'm traumatized or anything. But I'd rather date a man without kids. If you fortunately have a child, if we're dating, I think it would take me overcoming so many mental blocks for me to be so open to children because I'm not really a child kind of person. Everybody knows this about me. So I've been very easy dating people who I want to date because I just cannot date someone with a child. I'm not a child person. I keep telling people if I was to have a child, I think one is even my limit. That's just the thing.
I
But
mean,
how
I
is
just
that?
don't feel like it was a big problem because one, that's her preference. She's young. She doesn't have kids. So why would she, want to get with someone who already does? And like she said, she's dated guys who have kids, but she prefers that. maybe she wants to start her own family, have her own family with someone, and not have to worry about the back and forth with, the baby mama or whatever the case may be. Like, I don't see that as being a problem as much as her wanting to be a white woman.
And plus, it's
Yeah, I
hard
can agree
work
with that.
sometimes. You have to make the child like, because I feel like you should never get into a relationship if the child doesn't like it. That's just a recipe for doom. I feel like I'm defending Kira a lot today.
Yeah, because that can cause more problems in the relationship. Next thing you know, you're not seeing eye to eye. The kids don't like you, and most of the time, if the kids don't like you, that right there is an out for the parent. Like, oh, my kid don't like
Right.
you. Like, you know what I'm saying? I can't be involved with something like this. But
Right.
sometimes that's not the case.
Yeah, I agree.
Totally agree.
But I'm happy that she went home. She had no connection. I'm like,
I
it's
as
just,
soon as I saw she was going home, like, oh, this is a happy day for
they could
somebody.
have
I
sent
know it
her
is.
and Sierra home together, like as a package.
Hmm.
Go home. Because they are just wasting space, wasting airtime. Every single
Yeah.
date we've seen Sierra in, she has been nonchalant. She has
Hmm.
not really been there to find any connection. And to find out
Exactly.
that she actually had men that really liked her, I was shocked beyond words.
Right. I agree.
But I can't wait for next week episode. It seems like it's going to be bloody meeting the girls' friends.
But
Yeah, with
yeah,
the best friends. Oh Lord. And when
It's always
Herbert said
messy.
you already said it, she's dating me. Oh, so it's just you. I'm like, oh hell, here we go. Here we go.
Like that was so corny. Sounded so dumb. But yeah, does anybody have any last words before we end the live?
No, I thought that this was a no, go ahead, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, though, this one was actually a good one. There was a lot to unpack. I did like the fact that, I didn't like the exes. I didn't like the fact that they got to choose which ex it was. But I mean, there was a lot that came out in this exercise that nephew Tommy had him doing, and I actually did enjoy this one. And I'm so glad that Kira's gone. So glad. I wanted her ass gone. Bye. Next is gonna be Sierra, though. I think Marie and Sierra might be the next one.
Yeah. No, I agree. No, this was a great episode. And I this is my first time actually seeing nephew Tommy host. I'm Ray Love, and he's been hosting almost like 10 seasons now of this one show, which is amazing in this world of television. Um, I really do like that nephew Tommy gives enough of a damn to bring out the soul of the show, but he stays in his role. Um, and that's not easy to do. And this episode felt the realest to me because it's like, if you didn't have those conversations, would you have the same opinion of this person? And I like the fact that they threw in that curveball because it's like, okay, y'all have been riding rides at Disney World. Well, what if we went down to the local amusement park? Would you still like to go? Would you still like to go? And that's what Nephew Tommy did this episode. So no, it was a great episode. I can't wait for next week.
Yeah, me too. Because I always prefer the girls' own. It's always very dramatic when they meet the friends. And when they meet the family, yikes. So, anyways, thank you to the chat. Thank you, Gigi. Thank you, Braylon. I think you must have gone to prepare for work anyways. So thank
Yes.
you,
Mhm.
Q. And see you guys next week, same
Yes,
time.
indeed. Yes. Bye,
Bye.
everybody.